Thanks to Jersey Sports Zone, and Volpe makes almost the identical play.
At home, they call me Big Al, and I hit dingers.
Remember that young man, Big Al?
The Minnesota Lynx select Diamond Miller.
Video courtesy of Jersey Sports Zone.
It's an incredible goal, so that's a nice one. It's deserved of number one.
You got my food.
Number 2, New Jersey high school football.
Here on Jersey Sports Zone.
The playoffs are here. It's all about brackets. It's all about the road to the state championships. This is Beyond the Score, episode 10. I'm Rich Krampanis, joined as always by Jay Cook. Jay, I think one of the hardest things we've had to adjust to is we tape our podcasts on Monday.
Yeah.
I saw the brackets come out, and normally you and I are unpacking that right away.
For sure.
And I had to clam up.
Little restraint.
It was a little bit of restraint.
Yeah.
So it's an adjustment. And I was like, I've got a lot to say, and I know you've got a lot to say. Let's wait till Monday and let's air it out here. So, we're excited to talk about the upcoming non-public football playoffs. We're in round 2 of the public, and now the soccer gets started as well. So this is, for us, this is our A game. We got to bring it every single day, win or go home every single game. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, this is one of the most fun times of the fall. You've got so many different playoffs going on, so many great teams playing. And we're going to talk to a player from one of those incredible teams a little later on, aren't we?
Our first female guest.
Yep.
You want to talk about a 2-sport star.
Mega star.
Emma McCarthy, Paul VI. She's going to play lacrosse for the defending national champs, North Carolina. But before that, she's just going to go ahead and be one of the best soccer players in the state.
Yeah, Paul VI is on an absolute heater right now. South Jersey Coaches Cup champions, one of the top seeds in the South non-public A. A top 10 nationally ranked team, by the way. I mean, so they're killing it right now. So we're very excited to talk to Emma.
Emma McCarthy coming up, but when we come back, Jay and I are going to dive deep into those non-public football brackets.
It's one thing to win one award, but it's another 46 things to win 46 awards. New Jersey's most comprehensive academic healthcare system. Learn more at rwjbh.org/US News.
Jersey Sports Zone's Beyond the Score podcast brought to you by our good friends at RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together. We thank them because we get to just go all in here for high school football playoffs. And Jay, when the brackets came out on Sunday morning, there was a lot to digest. There's lots of opinions, but maybe I'll start out by something that you pointed out when people are commenting. When it comes to the public school football brackets, it's all done via PowerPoints, and it's a formula, and it's there, and what the numbers are, it just lays out in the bracket. When it comes to non-public football, PowerPoints are thrown out the window. It's much like maybe the NCAA basketball tournament. There's a room. We don't know where it is. We don't know exactly who's in there, but whoever it is decides the non-public A and non-public B football, and there's certainly quite a lot to talk about when it comes to that.
There is. I just looked at the Instagram before we checked in here, and if you're curious how much interest there is in this, over 450,000 impressions on our 2 posts about the brackets and almost 200 comments. That's what has people fired up, because this year has been so wide open. And we talked about that. We talk about it all the time. But this year has been so unique because it's so wide open. There's so much parity. And there's been so much, beating up on each other that it's really kind of made things very interesting.
So before we get into the debate, there was one thing that was absolutely no debate whatsoever. Don Bosco Prep ran the gamut in the regular season. They opened the season with a win in Texas, which raised a lot of eyebrows. They beat everybody standing in their way. They're the number 1 seed. That was probably a 4-second discussion, and that might have been too long of a discussion about it.
Yes, that was a stamp it immediately. 9-0 for the Ironmen. This has been one of the best Don Bosco teams that we have covered at Jersey Sports Zone in the Jersey Sports Zone era. I had that conversation last week with a photographer on one of the games I was covering. It's like, how good is this Bosco team? I said, this is one of the best Bosco teams I've ever seen. And they are just incredible. So, yes, no doubt, number 1 seed.
And now you go to seeds 2, 3, and 4. And this is where everyone kind of gets into the woods, and there's a lot of debate. St. Peter's Prep, the number 2 seed. St. Joe's Montvale, the number 3 seed. Bergen Catholic, the defending state champs, the number 4 seed. I think when you look at this, the most important thing in the analysis that makes this difficult, St. Peter's Prep and Bergen Catholic did not play each other.
Correct.
Everybody else, you can do win-loss comparisons and all these kind of things. By Peters not playing Bergen Catholic, that makes things murky. And then St. Peter's Prep, I think a lot of people think that they should be the 4 seed instead of the 2. I think you and I would say that as well. By the way, they're back. Let's not lose sight of.
They've had an incredible season.
Any criticism of St. Peter's Prep, I mean, this is all going to get thrown out the window once the tournament gets started. But they have been incredible this year. But they beat St. Joe's Montvale, going for a 2-point conversion, gutsy win that you were at.
Great win.
St. Joe's Montvale didn't have Nate Bailey in that game.
Mm-hmm.
St. Joe's Montvale took Don Bosco to overtime. St. Peter's Prep last week lost to Don Bosco in a clear win for the Ironmen.
By a wide margin, yeah.
And then you've got Bergen losing by a point to St. Joe's Montvale in what we're calling the game of the year and maybe the game of the century. I mean, it's in the conversation.
Great game.
So you look at all of those things, and again, I think if you or I were in the room, we would have said Joe's 2, Bergen 3, Peters 4.
The reason that is not is the Peters win over Joe's.
Right.
It forced the committee to put the head-to-heads up against each other, right? Peters beat Joe's, who beat Bergen. That is the chain, in my mind, probably how this whole conversation went down. Everybody lost to Bosco, so you kind of take that out, right? Joe's lost to Bosco in overtime, Bergen lost in regulation, and Peters lost in regulation. But the St. Peter's win over St. Joe's has been the most important win for a team in non-public A going in this regular season. It's the A1 most important win for a single team. If Peters does not beat Joe's, they are not a 2 seed. That is what it comes down to. Now, some people might have an issue with St. Peter's not playing Bergen Catholic and not playing some other non-publics and going the route of choosing to play some publics to begin the year. They played Shabazz. They played Union City. I don't imagine that those wins had any bearing on their seeding. I would probably say they had little to none because they're publics. Now, if they were to lose to them, that would be a major issue because if you don't want to see a non-public on this list losing to a public. That's a big problem. But St. Peter's Prep was able to beat St. Joe's in the 1-point game, and they earned the 2 seed there. I'm looking at these seeds, and I have a hard time believing that the toughest road to MetLife is for Bergen Catholic. They have to beat 2 teams that they lost to this year. They have to beat Don Bosco and potentially have to beat St. Joe's. That is as tough a run as Bergen Catholic has had to the playoffs since the COVID shutdowns in that weird season.
I think what's nice, too, is we're going to see a potential rematch between Peters and Joe's once again in Jersey City. And I think the big difference this time around is Nate Bailey did not play in the Peters game in the regular season. We talk about the value that he brings to that team. When we see guys that aren't playing and what the difference is, St. Joe's Montvale with Nate Bailey is as dangerous as anybody in the state.
They're on a different level.
And then without Nate Bailey, there's a vulnerability there. So I think we're going to see chapter 2. That's going to be interesting. I think A lot of people would like to see a Bergen-Bosco rematch in the state finals. We're going to get it around earlier. And you talk about a tough road. It's a pretty tough road for Don Bosco, too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Bosco beat Seton Hall Prep in the regular season by a very wide margin, so you've got to imagine that they will move on. Then they'll play Bergen Catholic, and then they'll probably play the winner of St. Joe's, St. Peter's Prep. Now, look, there's a couple games in here that could make things interesting. We look at the other seeds below Bergen Catholic, 5, 6, 7, and 8. St. Joseph Metuchen got the 5 seed, and I think there's more people that are kind of questioning as to why that happened. St. Joseph Metuchen did lose last week to Donovan Catholic. They play a very heavy public schedule in the Big Central Conference. So, the people up north have some issue with that. But look, that's a very good St. Joseph Metuchen team. Let's make no bones about it. They've got some guys.
I'm as big as Joe's Metuchen fan. We got to spend time with Justice Scaramuzza, the quarterback, and C.J. Edwards, the defensive end. I love those kids.
Great kids.
I've seen them in person. They're a great team. I would have put Del Barton ahead of St. Joe's Metuchen. What's interesting is they both lost in the last week of the regular season.
Yeah.
Del Barton loses to Paramus Catholic. St. Joe's Metuchen, as you mentioned, lost to Donovan Catholic. I think if one of those wins, then this debate would have been settled a little bit easier. But now, if you're St. Joe's Montvale, you got to get yourself ready for Del Barton.
Tough game. Who beat DePaul 2 weeks ago?
And now St. Joe's Metuchen is going to go face maybe a little angry that they're the number 4 seed, Bergen Catholic.
Better tighten up a little bit.
Yeah. Motivation is not going to be a problem up there in Oradell.
Zero. They're going to be okay. Yeah.
They were locked in before, and I didn't even realize. I looked, we've been talking a lot about Trey Taliaferri. 24 touchdowns, 1 interception.
I know.
Oh, he's the new kid, he's just getting his feet wet here. He's a sophomore. 24-1 as a sophomore playing that schedule.
Yeah, and
they're the 4 seed.
And the 4 seed. Yeah. Look, Bergen has a 5-point loss to Don Bosco and a 1-point loss to St. Joe's. Those 2 losses are the reason why they're the 4 seed. Like you said, there's going to be no issue motivating those kids at Bergen Catholic. Everything is lining up for Bergen Bosco in the state semis. Oh, my God.
And then Joe's Peters at the same time.
Joe's Peters at the same time. Yeah, Joe's Peters at the same time. So, potentially, look, I mean, St. Joe's Montvale is going to have their hands full with Del Barton. Del Barton's a very good team. We have seen what Del Barton at their best can do.
Beat DePaul.
So, and St. Joe's just beat DePaul as well. So, there's going to be some similarities there. Rounding out the seeds in non-public A, St. Augustine coming in at 7. They lost to Holy Spirit. They lost to Winslow. They also lost to Millville. So they didn't beat any non-publics this year, and they lost to a couple good publics. So that's kind of where the separation is between 6 and 7. And Seton Hall it's been a tough year for Seton Hall Prep. 8th seed 2 years in a row. It's going to be tough. But yeah, they're going to be the 8th seed this year.
So look, it's fun to debate all these seedings, and it's all doesn't matter now, because we're going to get in this tournament. We're going to see, I think selfishly we'd like to see those top 4 seeds advance, and let's get it on.
And
forget about, doesn't matter what the seeds are at that point. And we're arguing between a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, and a Tesla Cybertruck. I don't
Aston
know.
Martin, yeah.
Aston Martin's even better. Yes, that's what we're arguing about. So when we say all these things, we've been praising St. Peter's Prep up and down, rightfully so. They've been fantastic. So I don't think there should be any bulletin board material based on what we were saying here.
No,
because
they've been great.
There are 3 tremendous programs in those 2, 3, and 4 seeds, and now we're going to just see it all play out. And that weekend, the stressful part is that's when the soccer state championships are going on, and then we got those 2 games going on.
Yeah,
it's going to be must see.
It's going to be a lot. Let's move to non-public B, where everything kind of lined up. I think kind of where we all felt it was going to. DePaul's been hot and cold coming into the last couple weeks of the regular season, but they still have done enough to prove that they are the top seed. Paramus Catholic, they're starting to come on now. Paramus Catholic is starting to build some momentum. They're going to be the 2 seed this year. Red Bank Catholic, number 3. Zero questions. I mean, those top 3 seeds are chalk for me, right?
For sure.
Right. Like you sit there and you go, okay, that's 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It all starts to get a little jumbled there. Donovan Catholic closed the regular season with a big win over St. Joseph Metuchen. That definitely gave them a big boost. Holy Spirit beat St. Augustine. Boost. You look there, how does this fit out with some of these teams on the bottom? There's going to be some first-round games this weekend in non-public B. We got to let this whole thing play out and see where everybody lands in the quarters. That's where it's going to start to get interesting in non-public B. There's 14 teams in this bracket. Let's get this shaved down a little bit. And when we get to the quarters, we'll have a much better idea. But, right now, in my eyes, it's a 3-man race between DePaul, PC, and Red Bank Catholic.
Right. And you were at the RBC Paramus Catholic game, and we correctly forecasted that the number 2 seed was on the line. You're no longer allowed to look at Paramus Catholic's record. It's just you say, again, if you're a record watcher, they played an unbelievable schedule, but what you need to know is they beat RBC head-to-head, and they turned around and beat a good Del Barton team, who, by the way, just beat DePaul. So
very impressive
Paramus
win.
Catholic is a dangerous, dangerous team, and the question becomes, does RBC, with their young kids, can they figure out a way to do something different to win that game? They got to go back up to PC. That's a tall order. And then the other thing that's very interesting here is Donovan Catholic. They are on a heater. 6-game win streak. Dan Kersey owns a great coach. It wasn't too long ago, Donovan Catholic was playing Bergen Catholic in non-public A. Deep in the postseason.
For sure.
So they've got one of the best offensive linemen in the country, Kai Pritchard. Caden Davis got banged up in the early part of the season. When they lost a couple of games early, they lost to Kingsway early. They lost to Homedale.
Those aren't bad losses now.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, those are like, Homedale has every right to potentially be in a Group 3 state championship, and Kingsway is going to be heavily in the mix here going forward. Those aren't bad losses.
So Donovan Catholic I find them to be the wild card in this. Like, it was almost like we shot them a lot in the early part of the season when they were going through some tough times. Like, we got to kind of have to revisit them. And, does Donovan Catholic give DePaul Catholic a tussle? Maybe. And then the other side is that RBC PC rematch, which, again, I think a Paramus Catholic DePaul, if everything holds to form, would be a heck of a state final.
Oh boy, that would be fun.
Yeah,
that would be a lot of fun.
And RBC 9-1, they steamrolled Notre Dame. Notre Dame's the 13th seed, so they don't have that rematch. Notre Dame's going to have Donovan, but RBC.
They opened with Hudson.
Right. So they've got, we've talked about Ramiro Rivera and Gabe Kemp all year long. They are 9-1. They've done a great job. They're kids, and now we're going to see how they perform in the postseason. But they have that interesting benefit of what did they learn when they lost to PC, and will the story be the same, or will the story be different when it gets to that semifinal round potentially?
Yeah, I would say give the ball to Gabe Kemp more would be my be my hot take.
He's running like a gazelle.
Yeah,
he's running like a gazelle.
And look, PC I think has found their identity as the season has gone along, right? Similar to Donovan, where hey, look, we've got some pieces, we haven't meshed yet, and now you get to the end of October, early November, and you have your identity. That's happened to Donovan, and I think it's really happening to Paramus Catholic. So. Look, that's going to be a really fun game if everything stays true.
I think the biggest thing going for DePaul and Paramus Catholic is they play the meat grinder schedule.
Yeah.
So they are not going to get wide-eyed at all. And that's, for Coach Lang and RBC, as these kids get older, I think they'll have to schedule a little bit more aggressively. I understand you got 2 kids. You don't know how freshmen are going to perform. And they did play Paramus Catholic. You know, they played Notre Dame. They scheduled some non-publics out of conference. You know, I wish the Shore made it a mandate that the non-publics all played each other. RBC did play Vianney this year. Why didn't RBC play Donovan Catholic?
They should have played.
They need to play that game. You know, the other thing we say is when you look at this, I think you and I are both a proponent of, how about we do one bracket?
We talked about this pre-show.
16 teams, and where's DePaul? Would I see DePaul 5? I think so.
DePaul should be 5, but Delbarton was the 6 in
Right.
their own bracket, and they beat DePaul head to head. So, you couldn't have St. Joseph Metuchen over DePaul Catholic. So,
Right.
it would be interesting. That's the way it has to go. And I have had this conversation with many people over the last couple of years. Lacrosse has gone to a similar format, one non-public bracket. It was a lot of fun last year. Let me tell you what, that battle for the non-public state championship last year was insane. Brought some great games forward, some incredible competition. That's the way they need to go. And I get, let's have everybody involved. Let's just not discount teams because they're not on this elite level. Like St. Mary's, Rutherford, and St. Thomas Aquinas and Pope John should make the playoffs. That's good for high school football. But what's good for the non-publics? Let's get all the good teams in one bracket and let's go to war.
All I know is that the 4 teams that we're all dying to see, Bergen, Peters, Joes,
Bosco.
and Bosco. Can't forget about Bosco. They got a week off.
Yeah.
They got a week off, and it's also that challenge of the journey to a state championship. You know, you only have to win 3. Now, look, it is a meat grinder, so don't get me wrong, but, you know, and when you're looking at the kind of the reputation across the country, you know, to win a Texas state championship, you got to win this many games. I'd love to say, hey, you got to win 4. And yeah, would there be a lot of, you know, lopsided games? Yeah, but there also could be a surprise.
You never know.
Like we learned this week, Matta won a 7 seed, upsetting Somerville.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It can happen. It can happen. So, look, once again, we don't even know where they're meeting, so we're not getting invited to the party. And that's okay. This is fun to talk about.
It is.
And, you know, we're excited that we're going to see 2 great non-public games at MetLife. We know we will.
Yeah.
And looking forward to that. So I guess, you know, we kind of always seem to arrive at this conversation this time of year every year. And then once the playoffs start, we stop talking about it.
It's been the last couple years with Bergen being absolutely dominant has taken the sting out of these seeds, right? It's like, okay, it's Bergen, and where does everybody else line up?
Right.
This year it's been different because everybody's beating up on everybody. Everybody's got a really good win, and, you know, how is it all added up? It's made it very interesting. People are talking about it, man. It's got everybody fired up.
Well, the journey starts in non-public B this week, and 2 weeks from now, it'll be the quarterfinals for non-public A. Let's step away for a second. When we come back, we're going to look ahead to the public round 2. We got some great games on tap.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, buckle up. We'll be right back here on the Beyond the Score podcast.
It's really nice to be in a situation, in a place where there are very good people who take good care of people.
Orthopedics it's not about saving lives, it's about saving quality of life.
A lot of people, we live high-stress lives, so if you tell someone they can't do something for whatever reason, that's pretty traumatic.
I really take pride in trying to be empathetic and trying to put myself in every patient's shoes.
I want to take care of people like I'd want to take care of my family, and I think that when you do that and give somebody that family feeling and give them your honest opinion for what you would do, they value that.
ACI Medical and Dental School in Eatontown is celebrating 20 years of new beginnings and 20 years of new careers. Start your new career as a medical or dental assistant in less than 4 months. From a talented faculty and staff to state-of-the-art equipment and training, ACI's medical and dental training programs are designed to help students succeed. Registration is open for day and evening classes. Visit aci.edu to begin your healthcare journey.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Beyond the Score podcast. Thank you, as always, to ACI Medical and Dental School for always sponsoring our short conference game of the week. I drew the ACI game last week.
Right.
The Thanksgiving showdown every year in Middletown, North, South. That was a really fun game. Great atmosphere.
You witnessed a real historic moment. I mean, that's the second time this century, I think, that North has beat South.
Very, very, very interesting. That's a good North team, man. And look, we always talk about the records. You throw the records out when North and South play. These kids, look, Middletown's a big town.
Yeah.
Big town. I grew up on one side of Middletown. I now live on the other side of Middletown. It's a big town. People in town love football. It was a great atmosphere. Congratulations to the Lions. First win over Middletown South in 9 years.
What if you merged those two schools and they played Group 5?
Oh, boy.
They'd be a juggernaut every year.
Oh, my God. I mean, it wouldn't be fair.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be fair. I mean, that's, in every sport, too. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Hockey? Oh, man.
The hockey team would be goofy.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Yeah, hockey would be great. How many great D1 baseball players has Middletown produced?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great what if.
We're going down a wormhole we didn't talk about going down right now, and that's okay.
That's what we do.
But back to the ACI Medical and Dental School game of the week. This week, instead of being Middletown North, Middletown South, it's Rumson Fairhaven in Wall Township. Rich, you saw this game. You have been waiting for this game again. This is going to be a lot of fun.
I'll tell you, I'm trying to figure out Rumson. They are the defending Group 2 state champs, and they have been so dominant for the better part of 3 years. And they're still sitting here in a section semifinal. They're figuring out ways to win football games. They beat Mid-South by 3. At the beginning of the season in week 0, they beat Point Borough 34-0. I was there.
Yeah.
This time around, Jake Clayton and the Panthers were 11 yards away from knocking off the state champs. They're down 14-10, first and goal at the 11, first and 10 from the 11. Rumson's defense figures out a way to make a stop and survive and advance. This team, Rumson, lost its identity, I think, when Kellen Murray got injured in the Brick Memorial game.
Mm-hmm.
They beat up Point Borough week 0. They beat up Brick Memorial without Jason Lahara, who had mono. So then they took a bit of a step down. They lost to Homedale. Nothing wrong with that. Lost to RBC. Nothing wrong with that.
No.
But here's the thing. Kellen Murray's back. He got a few carries last week against Point Borough. Could this team find themselves?
It's possible.
On the other side, Wall, remember they lost their quarterback. They stuck with the McKenna kid the whole time. He's been great. This is a well-coached team. Ed Guerreri knows about playing this time of year. They lost last year. It was 38-14, so that's all on their minds. Most of those kids are back, and I watched Wall absolutely dominate St. John Vianney.
Yeah.
And when you see a public school handle a non-public school, look, St. John Vianney is the 8th seed in non-public B.
Yeah.
They're a top 8 seed. Wall shut them out. The defense with Justin Davis there is incredible. So I think anything goes in this game. I would think it was going to be a defensive tussle between these two teams. And can Rumson Fairhaven figure out a way? Remember, they've been to Rutgers, was it 4 years in a row or 3 years in a row?
Yeah. I think it's they went to.
They lost 2.
They lost to Caldwell.
Right.
At the end of the Caldwell dynasty. They lost to Westwood.
And then
they just beat Shabazz.
They beat Shabazz.
When is the last time Rumson played not a state semifinal on the road?
Well, I got to do a deep dive on that.
I mean, we didn't even pull that stat up. It must be forever.
It was at Raritan. Schulte's first year, young Jeremy Schulte, first year at Raritan. That was a section final. It was on the road.
2022?
2021? Yeah, or 21 maybe, yeah. So it's been a while. There's a lot of home cooking at Rumson Fairhaven. Now they got to go there, and if they can figure out a way to beat Wall, which is a big if, then they got to go to Camden potentially. So interesting.
It's an uphill battle for Rumson.
Yeah, and I'm sure again, I like that defense. I've talked them up a lot. At this time of year, that famous defense wins championships. The defense has been playing well, and if Kellen Murray can get going, and high ankle sprain, missed that kid would have been a 1,800 yard rusher. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
so.
It is. That is one of a few great games we're going to be at this week. I'm going to head over to Sayreville hosting
We circled
Old
this
Bridge.
one.
This one has definitely been circled. There's only 7 miles that separate these two schools, and they rarely ever play. It just for whatever reason, it hasn't happened. 9-1 Old Bridge, 9-1 Sayreville. 2 teams having incredible years. I got to imagine for Old Bridge, this is one of the better seasons in program history.
Yeah.
It's got to be. Brody Nugent has been playing out of his mind. We saw Old Bridge at early in the season. Our guy Mike Frankel
Ocean
got
City.
them. Ocean City, or Battle at the Beach. It might have been at one of the satellite locations. But we got them in week 0. This is a good football team. Brody Nugent is less than 80 yards away from a 2,000 passing yard season and a 1,000 rushing yard season.
How
This
about
guy's
that?
Dual threat monster. 34 total touchdowns for Brody Nugent. On the other side, Sayreville continues to live through their run game. Sean Jackson, 1,700 yards, 22 touchdowns. Something about this game just gets me fired up, right? I mean, the Big Central, they don't produce many state champions in the group champion era, right? It hasn't happened.
Right.
They've had Hillsborough's. They've had some good teams. The Thomas Amonkwa, Hillsborough years were really, really good. Sayreville's glory days were back before group championships were around. This is going to be a great game this week. So I'm really excited to go over to Bomber Country and check this game out. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And then you go down to South Jersey, a similar storyline to Rumson Fairhaven. Toms River North. It's almost like we forgot. They have won the last 3 Group 5 state championships.
Yeah.
And very similar to Rumson, Coach Oz is in unfamiliar territory. How about having to go on the road the entire way? They go down, they face an unbeaten Cherry Hill East team, figure out a way to get a win.
Yeah.
Now they're going to the top seed, Atlantic City, and you set up the storyline. Is this the end of the TRN dynasty? Is Atlantic City going to be the one to end it? Reminder that the overall state championship is still a very new era.
Yes.
As time goes on, those 3 straight Group 5s by Toms River North, you and I might be in the ground the next time somebody wins 3 Group 5 state championships in a row.
Very, very tough thing to do. Look, this is going to be a very difficult road for Toms River North. We just had our call with our entire team, and James Mooney was talking up Atlantic City and saying how good this team is this year and very deserving being the top seed in this bracket. So, look, AC is hot. Just some other games that we're going to be at this week as well. Union City at Bridgewater Raritan. BR is the top seed in their section. Like we talked about, the North 1 and North 2 sections of Group 5 are wide open. This is going to be a really fun game. The other 2, Rancocas Valley, Washington Township.
Washington Township's had a heck of a year.
Yeah, they have just been steamrolling. Look, we've talked about RV. Looks like they're finally getting fully healthy. Are they going to be a team that is able to, turn up the heat late in the season? They've got a tough test against Washington Township. And we're going to have one of our freelancers, Sean Dugan, at Mount Olive in Northern Highlands. And the winner of that game will likely play Ramapo in a sectional final.
We talked about, we've shot a lot of Northern Highlands, rightfully so, a lot of Ramapo. I want to give some love to Mount Olive.
Yeah.
Every time we go up there, something cool happens, right? You know, something wild. So they're having a fantastic year, and this is our chance to, hey, let's see what they can do, lining up against a tremendous Northern Highlands team with that 1-2 punch in the backfield.
Yeah, we saw Mount Olive earlier in the season with a big 41-17 win over Morristown on a Saturday morning. Braden Longo has been the heartbeat of Mount Olive football, and he's a major reason why they are pushing deep into the playoffs here. So they've got to go up to Allendale, tough place to play. Mount Olive is the odds are going to be stacked against Mount Olive, but this is a really fun game. That's a really competitive game in North 1 Group 4. So, let's see who gets out of it alive.
And one more, Montgomery at Woodbridge.
Mm-hmm.
Montgomery is a team that turned heads when they beat Sayreville.
Yeah.
And Woodbridge is just, steadily played great football all year long. Again, we think this is the potential to be a fun kind of wild game.
Look, it's going to be a lot of fun. We talked about the Big Central. Let's get these teams going up against each other in big playoff settings. Earlier this season, mid-October, Woodbridge beat Montgomery 41-31. So we have something to go off of here. The coaches have tape on each other. These kids have gone up to head-to-head against each other, So look, 72 points in a game. I don't know that we're going to see 72 points in a playoff game. Everything's a little different in the playoffs, but that should be a lot of fun. 7-3 Montgomery, 8-2 Woodbridge.
So Friday and Saturday, make sure you head to jerseysportszone.com. We post highlights as soon as we possibly can, all night, all through the weekend. We'll have you all covered. When we come back, we're going to shift our attention to girls soccer. We're going to talk to one of the best two-way athletes in this state, Emma McCarthy from Paul VI Soccer and Lacrosse. We'll talk with her when we come back.
Dream big, they say. We say dream bigger. Over 3 million square feet of bigger, so you can plunge deeper. Play in the snow longer. Wonder greater. Pose with your friends sillier. Shop with your family happier. Make every meal tastier. And float higher than ever. Whatever your dream is, come live it big time at American Dream.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Get back the life you love.
Welcome back to the Beyond the Score podcast. I just realized something, Jay. This is our first female guest.
Yeah, it's long overdue.
And we picked a good one.
Oh, for sure.
So Paul VI girls soccer is unbelievable. They won the South Jersey Coaches Cup. They're ranked number 7 in the country. And our guest has 18 goals, 37 for her career. Really impressive, right?
That's pretty good.
Here's the hook. Second best sport, because she is a 5-star lacrosse recruit.
Yeah, that's...
Going to the defending national champs, North Carolina. 37 goals is nice. How does 226 in lac sound to you?
That's a pretty nice number right there.
Let's welcome in Emma McCarthy. Thanks for taking the time. I'm sorry it took us so long to go through your stats, but you have a lot of them.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
Emma, New Jersey girls soccer. We just went through the lacrosse. I'm a little jumbled up. The soccer right now is incredible, and you girls are right in the mix. Playoffs are beginning. What has this last week or two been like with the Eagles going down to the wire a couple times here in some big-time spots and pulling out some incredible games in these, hectic finishes?
Yeah, the Coaches Cup is an electric environment. So I think apart from the state championship last year, that was kind of our first time this year being in like a loud environment, and we knew that we were going to have to settle into the games. So I think we struggled a little bit in Cherokee just getting in there, and same thing in Shawnee. It took us about a half to kind of get into the game. And then once we play our style, we play more like a club than typical high school soccer. We possess the ball. We have so many talented girls. Apart from me, it's pretty much everyone's first sport. So we have a lot of technical girls. And once we can just play to our strengths and connect together, it's kind of like our skill takes over rather than all the outside factors. So I think that in the second half, we kind of were able to get back in the game. We had Hunter score, Kylie score, And then in overtime, that's kind of when you just dig deep, and we had a bunch of heart and hustle. We dominated pretty much for almost that whole 20 minutes, and then we're able to put one in the back of net.
You put it in the back of the net with a spectacular header. That was awesome. And as you mentioned in that game, you're down 2-0. You guys could have tightened up. You score back-to-back goals. The second goal by Kylie was our number 2 play of the week. You know, we shoot games all over the state, Emma. Paul the Six Girls had 2 of our top 10 plays in the entire week. Your header and then that goal by Kylie. The question I have for you is what your emotions are right now. We're going to talk about your lacrosse career in a minute, but for you, you're really at the end of the road. I'm pretty sure Coach Levy there at North Carolina is not going to let you play any soccer in Chapel Hill. So what is it like knowing that this is really the end of the road of this part of your life for you as a soccer player?
Yeah, it's definitely sad to think about. And moments like Coach's Cup, you soak in those games. And I'm just surrounded by such a great group of girls that I feel so grateful to cap off my soccer career playing for PVI under Coach Karen and Coach Lauren too. It's just our leadership from them is incredible. And then what's special about PVI is everyone chooses to go there. So it's not a public school where you just get sent there. Everyone picks PVI and we pick it for a reason. And I think you can tell when we're out there the bond that we have. So it's really sad to think that soccer is it for me after our playoff run, but I wouldn't want to end it any other way.
We looked at the United Soccer Coaches Association high school rankings, and I don't know if people don't know that New Jersey is like this incredible soccer hub. You've got Rutgers Prep as the number 1 team in the country. You girls are 7 in the country. Ramsey, all the way up in Bergen County, is 13, and Westfield is 21.
Wow.
What makes New Jersey girls soccer so special? And I don't know if it's just this group of girls, these couple classes that are in the mix right now, but what do you think it makes these 4 teams some of the elite in the country?
Yeah, I just think the clubs around here are so strong, especially you have Barons, you have a bunch of girls playing for Penn Fusion, Real, and then what everyone talks about is just like the Jersey girl, like that grit. And I think people talk about it. It's known, like, even in lacrosse world, and then same thing for soccer growing up. Like, I played club soccer my whole life. So when you go and you play those other teams, like, what Jersey girls have is that hustle and that heart.
That's so awesome.
Love that.
We got to talk lacrosse. North Carolina, defending national champ. The prospect of you being inserted into that lineup. I want to talk about, I don't know if people are aware, but who may be the greatest lacrosse player we're about to ever see is Chloe Humphrey. Won the Tuerton Award as a true freshman. That's the Heisman Trophy for lacrosse. And then the prospect of you going up there and in that mix, you're going to get to play at least 2 years with her. Talk about her a little bit and just talk about how special that program is, because they are on a different level.
Yeah, I can't say enough good things about Chloe as a person. Through the recruiting process, she was kind of the one who would always reach out to me. And when I would go down to campus, she was kind of my guide. Anytime I had any questions, she would help me out. And she's a great lacrosse player, and I look up to her in so many ways, but not just on the field, also off the field as a human. And I think that's something that, Coach Levy and Marie McCool and their whole coaching staff just really instills in all the girls, that you're so much more than a lacrosse player. So that's why they have that awesome culture down there. And it makes me feel better being 7 hours away from home, that I'm going to be under the leadership of them and be surrounded by like-minded girls.
Clearly, you have a knack for scoring goals, right? I'm looking at the ledger here. You have over 250 and counting goals across soccer and girls lacrosse. What's your mentality when you are going to score, when you're going and attacking on offense? What do you kind of bring to the game? And is there any crossover between soccer and lacrosse?
Yeah, I just kind of always try to make the right play. So depending on what team I'm on, whether it's club or a showcase team, I can be a feeder, but in other times I can score. So I just think that it's like in my head, I kind of am just trying to go with the game and play to my teammates' strengths around me. And then if I get to be the lucky one to assist or score, that's how it works. And there definitely are so many things that transfer from soccer to lacrosse. Coach Levy wants us to play both sports because my footwork in soccer translates to my dodging abilities in lacrosse, and there's just so many crossovers. So yeah.
All right, so you've given us some awesome soccer highlights already, and we thank you for that. When we get to the spring, what can if you see our cameras there, what can you cook up for us? What kind of, when the game's under control, can you give me what kind of trick shot can you give us? I'm putting in an early request. I need to see an Emma McCarthy #1 play of the week. I know it's in your bag. Can you give us a preview, and then when you do it, we can drop this soundbite in?
I would say my go-to is probably behind the back. That's one of my favorite trick shots to hit. Maybe even a Twizzler if I have a defender on my back.
Okay, I need an education. What's a Twizzler?
A Twizzler is when your back's to the goal, you drop your stick to the side, and then you twist it forward and use your wrist strength to flick it backwards.
Okay, yeah,
that's what we want. Could we get a Twizzler this spring? Can you make that happen?
Yeah, I actually think that you guys got one when we played Southern. I think you guys got one of them.
Yes, we did.
Let's go to, so we're going to drop that in the archives right now. We already have, we need one more.
Yes. Yeah,
okay,
a couple more.
Yeah, we're trying to grow girls sports. You guys don't get as many clicks as the guys, and it bugs us. So that's what it takes. We need some more Twizzlers.
We need some sick goals.
We need some good sellies, and you're the person to do it.
Emma, just real quick, as you look down here for the next couple weeks, what's the mentality at PVI girls soccer as you girls, make that push for a state championship in a really tough group? A up north is loaded. There's a couple really good teams. How focused are you girls going down the stretch here for the next 2.5 weeks?
Yeah, preseason, we make a list of goals for the season, and so far we've hit everything besides that state championship. So that's what we're dialed in on right now. And practices are intense, but they're also fun, and I think that's important too because we go out there and we have a good time. But Coach Karen and Coach Lauren also make sure that we know what's on the line, and from here on out, it's you go home if you lose, and I think we all know that, and we just gotta play our game. And yeah, I think that our thing this year is everyone has to play us, so we just have to go out there and do what we know how to do, play our style, and the results will come.
Emma McCarthy, thank you so much for taking the time. We're going to enjoy these last 2.5 weeks of watching you play soccer. We get one more season with you on the lacrosse field, and then Jay and I will be checking those North Carolina box scores before you know it. So thanks for representing New Jersey so well as an incredible dual sport athlete.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
No one plans on heart disease, but everyone should have a plan for it. We help patients of all lifestyles and medical histories plan for healthy hearts. We offer convenient screenings without judgment, hundreds of preventive programs, and women's heart specialists. And we're the largest cardiac surgery program in New Jersey. Make plans for a healthy heart with RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Shout out to Emma McCarthy. I'll tell you, Jay, every one of our guests have been off the charts. We expect it from the coaches with coach speaking. They're talking all the time. These athletes, we put them under the fire. I always joke with them. One of the reasons we have them on here is, hey, you better get used to this.
Yeah.
Emma McCarthy's going to be doing some interviews in Chapel Hill when she's in the NCAA tournament for the University of North Carolina. She did a great job, and you talked about it in the interview, Jay. You shined the spotlight correctly. We've got 4 nationally ranked teams in New Jersey girls soccer, and this time of year, the cream is rising to the top. You texted me right away. You were very impressed with Mount St. Dominic. I'm glad we got them in the Essex final on Saturday afternoon.
That's a good team. That's a good team. You look at Mount St. Dominic is 20-0 this season. This has just been a historic year for the Lions. I mean, everything is going well for them. I mean, look, this team is loaded with playmakers. Lena Touche is one of the most impressive girls soccer players.
I love that goal.
Whoa. Where did that land to the top?
It didn't make the top 10.
Okay.
That's how good the top
10 was good this week.
Was so good this week that didn't make it, which is insane.
Yeah, she played incredible. 2 goals, 2 assists in a 4-1 game. Look, credit to Livingston. Livingston is a team that is seasoned in the Essex County tournament. They've won 7 titles. Mount St. Dominic had never even made a final. So you look at it and say, okay, we got a team that knows what to do in these big spots, and you got a team that is new to this. Mount St. Dominic, was it the best first half of the season? No. They go down 1-0. They got some chances on goal. But, boy, that second half, their foot was on the gas, man. I mean, Lena Touche, Gianna Camporeale, these are 2 of the very best girls soccer players in the entire state of New Jersey. Mount St. Dominic is going to be a very, very tough out in non-public A. North, that's a dang good girls soccer team.
And when I always think Mount St. Dominic, I always think softball. We
Absolutely.
shoot a lot of Mount St. Dominic
Rightfully
softball.
so. It's a softball factory.
So I'm glad we got a little Mount St. Dominic girls soccer in there. And then we wrapped up it was like a super Saturday, the last of the county finals.
It was loaded.
We were all over the place.
Yeah.
Tyler Moraz did a great job on the Mercer, the CVC. Got a golden goal there from Notre Dame, I believe, to beat Princeton. And then you were at, I think, the game of the day, which was West Orange, St. Benedict's Prep.
I need to shout out West Orange. I need to give them their credit because they are 18-2, and their only 2 losses this year are to St. Benedict's Prep and St. Benedict's Prep. Look, Essex County is one of the best soccer counties in the entire state of New Jersey. Union might put up a fight with that. Some of the Bergen might put up a fight with that. But Essex County, top to bottom, is straight up loaded with great soccer. Doug Devins has done an awesome job this year. This is absolutely one of the best West Orange teams that we have ever covered in the Jersey Sports Zone era. Marcus Jackson, UCLA commit, is one of the most well-rounded defensive players I have ever seen on the high school level. This kid is an absolute eraser. Him against Amadou Han. Go watch those highlights. The first half was him and Han just jockeying back and forth for position, slide tackles, great moves, shots. I mean, it was a masterclass on how to play A-plus defense. West Orange should win a Group 4 state championship. It's going to take a miracle to beat them because they have lost 3-1 to Benedict's and 1-0 to Benedict's. So this team is awesome. They are a top 15 team in the country, but I need to give St. Benedict's Prep their due. When not everything is going right, the shots are sailing high, sailing wide, what do? They turn to a kid who was not getting man-marked by Marcus Jackson, Nathaniel Adu, a young Ghanaian kid who, credit to him, if you go watch an interview, that was his first ever interview.
Oh, really?
Yep, and I give him credit, man. His English was awesome. He came in at a big spot. I did the interview with him, and they were like, man, that was your first one. I said, dude, that was awesome. Shout out to you, man.
I always say, imagine if you or I had to do an interview in
another language. Yeah, I sound like a moron.
Donde está,
Forget it. It'd be a nightmare.
It'd be terrible.
It'd be a nightmare. So he hit a great shot to put St. Benedict's up in the 79th minute. That game
went bar down. That was nice.
I felt that the game was going to a shootout. I'm like, this game's going to a shootout. And in the 79th minute, Nathaniel Adu hits a great shot to lift Benedict's to 15-0-1 and second straight Essex County championship.
So you had the Essex lockdown. I was over at the Union, which those 2 counties to me, we always say we got to get them. They're just tough tournaments, so good. And we had a rematch, Scotch Plains Fanwood taking on Westfield. I shot them in the regular season. Scotch Plains won 1-0. This time around, Scotch Plains Fanwood is another one of those teams. You do not want to see them on your side of the bracket. They are dangerous. They got a rock-solid goalie in Sean Guzman, and I think Javon Young is as dangerous as any guy in the state. You know, I would say, would Benedict's take Javon Young? They'd be like, come on, we'll slide you in there.
Mm-hmm.
He scored the second goal. The first goal was a beauty. It was Ryan Watt, a half volley off a Darren Edelman service from about 30 yards out. Beautiful ball, and that just set the tone like, hey, we got this. Scotch Plains fan goes back-to-back in Union County. That doesn't happen very often. So
tough.
You know, it's wild. So we're going to get into playoff mode here. The brackets get started throughout the week, the early rounds. And then Wednesday, we got the Prep State Championship, which it loses a tiny bit of luster because Benedict's isn't there.
Sure.
Before it was always Benedict's, Pennington, must-see. You know, last week on the show, we talked about the best games in JSE history.
I don't know how we left that. How did I leave that game off?
We were at Pennington, and we were talking about that game.
Oh, my God. I'm devastated right now.
I know. That's why we got to have like a summer revisit.
Awesome.
In our defense, we didn't do a lot of homework. It was just off the top of our head. But Pennington Benedict's was the start now where Pennington, that was 2 years ago. Benedict's left the prep ranks. They won last year, so they're going for a three-peat on Wednesday. And I saw a guy.
Yeah.
His name is Matthew Oweh. And I'm almost cautious in saying this, but I've had a few days to let it simmer. A lot of Ransford Gian vibes.
That's
from Ghana. Devastating speed. Devastating ball handling skills. Marvelous left-footed shot.
That was Ransford's trademark.
I saw it all.
Lefty, yeah.
And plus, the only thing he does better than Ransford Gian is Selly, because he gets this goal against Hun, and I'm just like, oh, that's a nice goal. And then all of a sudden, I see him coming into the screen. He goes and does a full floor routine gymnastics.
It was like an Olympic backflip. That was insane.
He sticks the landing. I was like, I love this guy. And then he pumped two more in.
Yeah.
I was out of there at halftime. He had a hat trick in the first half. He's got 20 goals in 10 matches. And then I did a deep dive on Matthew Oweh. He was in Africa over the summer. There's a tournament in Africa called the Cheetah Cup, which they say is the #1 youth soccer festival in Africa.
Okay.
MVP of the Cheetah Cup, Matthew Oweh.
That's pretty good.
Africa's a big country.
It's a massive swath of land.
So look, either you or I, or maybe one of us is going to.
Somebody's definitely getting that. We are getting that game.
Yeah, I almost want you to see him because you are the Ransford Gian source, and I think you'll come to the same conclusion as me. Ransford, by the way, is having an incredible year with Clemson, dominating in the ACC. He was the freshman of the year last year. They're saying he's going to be the #1 pick in the MLS draft.
That's the least surprising thing you've told me all week.
Right. So
least surprising thing you've told me.
I am hesitant to compare Matthew Oweh to him, but I got a lot of vibes.
Hey, look, I mean, I watched those highlights. I said, whoa, that kid's pretty good, huh? He's pretty good. So it's going to be Pennington against Lawrenceville?
Lawrenceville, that's right.
Okay.
And that's on Wednesday at Pennington. So, again, we're going to kind of close out the prep season early, and then we can really focus and lock in. It's going to be, like you said earlier on our call, a 2.5-week sprint, and before you know it, we'll be crowning soccer state champions. So it's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. We talked about this week's blast from the past coming into today and potentially doing something out of the Prep A, right? The Prep A tournament. But we're going to shift. College basketball started today.
Mm-hmm. We're underway.
Right away. And when we talked to Adrian Wojnarowski last week and the amount of New Jersey players that are all around the country, New Jersey has taken over the SEC.
Yes.
Massive New Jersey takeover in the SEC. And the SEC Player of the Year is a guy we know pretty well, Otega Oweh. Now at Kentucky, was at Rutgers Prep in high school, finished out his high school career at Blair Academy. Otega Oweh, SEC Preseason Player of the Year. How about that?
Playing at Kentucky. Shout out to the Heldrich. They sponsor our Blast from the Past every week. And our guy, James Mooney, dipped into the archives to give us a little taste of what used to be before he became a Kentucky Wildcat. It's time for another Blast from the Past, brought to you by the Heldrich, New Brunswick's only 4-star hotel.
Hey everyone, I'm James Mooney. College hoops tips off this week, and we want to shout out Kentucky's Otega Oweh for being named the Preseason Player of the Year in the SEC. Back in 2022, Jay Cook saw Oweh drop 25 points to lead Blair Academy past Petty.
Moments later on the fast break, Oweh drops the hammer. Oweh feeling good early as Blair takes the lead with a 10-0 run. But Blair closes the first half with a sizable lead. Oweh jams home another dunk. He had 14 points in the first half, as did Brady Muller too. Blair leads 54-38 at the break. Second half, Blair is soaring. Otega Oweh throws down the alley-oop. He led all scorers with a game-high 25 points.
Blast from the Past is brought to you by the Heldridge, New Brunswick's only 4-star hotel and a preferred hotel of Rutgers football fans since 2005. The Heldridge helps you make the most of your game day weekend, providing premium accommodations in the cultural heart of downtown New Brunswick. Restaurants, bars, theaters, parks, museums, and more are only steps away. Whether you're traveling alone or with a large group, book your stay at the Heldridge and make the most of your game day weekend.
Comprehensive, academic, and award-winning. New Jersey deserves nothing less. Learn more at rwjbh.org/US News.
Buffalo Wild Wings has teamed up with Jersey Sports Zone to honor high school athletes across the state with gift cards. We'll have Buffalo Wild Wings Player of the Game interviews all year long. Visit Buffalo Wild Wings locations in North Brunswick, Bridgewater, West Windsor, Flemington, Brick, and Toms River. A special thanks to the Munson Restaurant Group for supporting New Jersey high school athletes and Jersey Sports Zone.
Hey, welcome back to the Beyond the Score podcast, our last segment of episode 10. 10 already in the hole. How about that?
I know. You know what? We're going to blink our eyes and we'll have to get some sort of extravagant cake for number 100.
I know a couple good cake places in the area, so that shouldn't
There
be
you
too
go.
difficult. I had so much fun watching football on Sunday. Kyle Monangai. When your name and your number gets called, when people go down, you've got to step up. And I was watching Kyle Monangai, the running back for the Chicago Bears this week, just do what he has always done, not get tackled. Kyle Monangai, 176 yards on, 26, 27 carries against the Cincinnati Bengals in a crazy win.
That was a crazy game.
Crazy game. So I just want to say congratulations to Kyle. Kyle's parents are awesome people.
Oh, yeah.
They were very supportive of us from the early going. His mom is such a sweetheart. His dad always watched our television show. I'd seen him at some games even a year or two ago, and they've always supported us. So I just want to give a shout out to Kyle and all the people in his inner circle, because I just felt a real source of pride watching that kid go out there and have, an incredible game on NFL Sunday.
How was that? I've talked about this with you a lot because I'm an older dude, so I've experienced kids that I've covered, closely. There's kids that we cover every once in a while, and then there's kids that you go. Jay was a guy that was pounding on the desk about Kyle Monangai. We've talked about it before on the pod. Real unique situation. Jalen Berger, who's now at UCLA, and Kyle Monangai to have two insanely good running backs on the same team. And Jay was one of those guys. I think he was one of Kyle Monangai's biggest champions. So how was it for you? Is it surreal when you're, for me, I was watching the Red Zone, so I was getting all the Kyle Monangai.
Yeah.
It's that feeling. Like, I felt it before. Like, you're like, I know this dude. And
I know.
He's carving up the Bengals.
Look, I was the only cameraman at his signing day when he signed with Rutgers. It was it. I was the only camera guy there. And I was like, where is everybody? Why is nobody here? This is so awesome, man. And Kyle was our finalist for our Player of the Year that year. It was just awesome, man. I mean, it was so cool. Watching him when I came on full time, it was his first year at Don Bosco. And look, he is playing the same. It's the same guy. It's the same guy. His hair's a lot longer now, and he looks like an NFL player. I mean, he's walking around, and he's jacked out of his mind. The kid could not be tackled in high school, and it's just translated to the pro level. So really proud of Kyle and really excited to watch that.
And he's going to come on the pod. It's just, during the seasons, that's a tall order, but we're going to get him because he's one of our guys, man. And I was just through the roof, and he almost had, I think he had 20 something yards receiving. So he was just under 200 yards of total offense.
He played out of his mind.
Yeah. The other one that you kind of sit there and get a little like starstruck about is the World Series.
Oh, my goodness.
I got back from that Union County game. I apologize, a Scotch Plains fan. With the highlights got out maybe 10 or 15 minutes later because I was trying to multitask editing and then watching this Game 7 of the World Series. And I feel like I jinxed the Blue Jays because the reality of the jersey ties, manager John Schneider, a Lawrence High, Mercer County guy, and then Davis Schneider, Eastern High. We started going statewide in 2018. We missed Davis Schneider by 1 year, which haunts me. I went and looked up his stats. He had 608 his senior year.
That's pretty dang good, huh? How do you like that
think we would
number?
have got a couple Davis Schneider highlights?
Yeah, I'm sure we would have.
Yeah, so I just thought about, wow, then that same kind of surreal feeling. I've now, in the last 2 years in the World Series, two kids that, are in our world. Anthony Volpe, Grand Slam in the World Series. Davis Schneider, Game 5 at Dodger Stadium. Bomb to lead off the game against Blake Snell. And I guess the message I have for you is we better just be prepared this time of year because there's a wave of guys that are coming up that we covered intimately and we know well. And I am just, my excitement for baseball is knowing like this isn't going to be a once every 10-year kind of thing. I think every year somebody, we've got highlights of the Pennington field hockey team. We got, who reached out to us? Bryce Message, who is in the Brewers system.
Yeah, I saw that DM with a blue check mark pop up.
I told Tyler Mraz, I said, we got to get this for Bryce. So Bryce, who I'm watching this, Yasavage that's Bryce Message.
That could be Bryce Message.
Like Bryce Message he could click in and he could be in the Brewers rotation. So I'm very excited about what's to come in baseball. And so I'm sorry that the Blue Jays lost because they had those two jersey ties. Shout out to the Dodgers back to back.
Oh man.
What Yamamoto did, they'll be talking about that 100 years from now.
It's all-time great series.
I don't know if his arm is still attached to him after what he did in Game 6, and then he goes 34 pitches in Game 7. That was insane.
Went to the limit, man.
The moral of the story is the kids that we're covering today are going to be superstars tomorrow, and we can't wait to be a part of their journey.
That's the best part of this, man, watching them before they got there. So cool.
He's Jay Cook. I'm Rich Crampanis. This has been episode 10 of Beyond the Score. Thanks so much for watching and listening to our podcast every week. And a reminder, you can download it wherever you can find a podcast, and make sure you check out our YouTube channel for all the great videos. And we'll see you here next week.
If you have chronic joint or back pain, this is probably where you spend your time. Might we suggest a better destination that's close to home? RWJ Barnabas Health, where orthopedic surgeons designed the surgical implants that are now used around the world, and where you'll be cared for by the same doctors that treat professional athletes and rising stars. Get back to what you've been missing. Orthopedic care. Do it right. Here. RWJ Barnabas Health.